Alrighty, there we go. Now we can get started. Hey, Nash, great to see ya. Yeah, I try to time all this out just right. I got the little countdown timer that's down there at the bottom, and then I want to play some music while we're waiting. I know you probably have your computers on mute, which is totally cool and copacetic, but I want to be able to, play something just in case. And sometimes my timing isn't quite right. Everyone, thank you for joining today. Gonna be a fairly short live stream, but I think it might be interesting. I hope it's interesting. I feel bad for you guys sometimes because I geek out on this stuff. I love this stuff. And I know it's not everybody's cup of tea. I get even my poor wife. My poor wife. I have to talk to her about this. Oh, she has to listen to me talk to her about this stuff. I've kind of learned after a while. I know her body language. I know when I start to see the expressions that it's time to, no mas with talking about this. But we're actually going to talk about this today because we're going to talk about creating value with what we know. Hey, Fernando, great to see you. So, yeah, we're going to talk today about the invisible hand. It's kind of a funky, spooky. This is October. Great time of year to be talking about, the invisible hand. The invisible hand is incredible magic. Just magic. And what it does is astounding. But you don't need to be a Harry Potter fan to know that for every time somebody is in the Gryffindor house, there's also somebody in the Slytherin house. And magic can go both ways, and the invisible hand is no different. Hey, Sergey, great to see you. So let's go ahead and get started. And the way I'm going to kind of run this today is we are going to use moi, le person ici, maintenant. I'm going to use me as an example because we'll use my role as a teacher as an example as I talk you through the invisible hand and show you the incredible magic that can be created through this economic theory. All right? So let's start with that. First of all, we all have something that's worthless to us. We all have something worthless. I have this stuff in my head. That's all I've got. I've got this stuff in my head. And it's worthless to me because all it does to me is keep me up late at night when I'm trying to sleep and I think of all these cool things to teach and do and plan. And I'm not kidding. I have notes all around my bedside. I'm pulling up and I have my phone is just covered with notes all the time because I'm thinking of all this stuff. And I'm write it down and make sure that, oh yeah, I have it written down everywhere. I have this stuff all over. But that's worthless to me. All right. But you know what? Others might be able to create value with this. And so Salt Lake Community College says, you know what? We see some value in what's in your head lawn. And we can turn it into a product called a class that hopefully your students can derive some value from it. And that works because your students, they have value. So we trade things because whatever I have that is valueless, I can then trade with you and you can create more value with it. And then what you trade with me, I can make value out of. So for example, right now, I'm trading stuff that's up in here. And to do it, I create this live stream. You have your attention. Now, I don't want to be dismissive of your attention. I don't want to be dismissive of your attention at all. Nevertheless, it's something that you're kind of like, you know what? I might find something interesting in what Lon has to share, and I'm going to get extra credit for this if I'm in his class. And I can always multitask on other things while the live stream is going. So it's not a big deal for me to give some of my attention. Okay? So what happens is I'm giving you knowledge. Let's just say for grins and giggles, right? Let's pretend. Let's believe this lie we tell ourselves for a moment. I give you knowledge, you give me attention. I can monetize and create greater value out of your attention than you can, because I'm doing it through this system here. And you can create greater value out of my knowledge because now you can look at things in new ways and you can get course credit for it and you can get a degree which has monetary value. You get it. Okay? All right. But now, here's the thing though. We are each working in our own economic self-interest. Christina says, by the way, literally, I'm absolutely building a product for a client right now. There you go. Proof positive, right? Okay. But now each one of us, folks, we're doing this for our own economic self-interest. All right? Now, that doesn't mean that we don't care about each other. We care about each other. We're not monsters here, right? Nevertheless, I am providing this live stream for you for my own reasons. What are my reasons? I want to build my viewership. I want to help my students think past the reading and think about this at a deeper level. I want to get to 10,000 subscribers by the end of the year. And so the more that I publish and stream, the more likely I am to get new viewers and subscribers. I want to build Nutshell Brainery so that it can actually maybe one day make some sort of money. Who knows, right? I want to establish myself as an expert at Salt Lake Community College so I can keep my job. In other words, there are a lot of selfish reasons that I am doing this right now. And there's a lot of selfish reasons why you're attending. You want the extra credit. You want to see some insights. Or in the case of Christina it's Christina who is working on a product for a client right now. She wants some insights into this and so forth. You want the attaboy points or attagirl, right? You want the kudos. Let's be, gender neutral. You want the kudos. You want me to, whenever I see your name, and I do, you want me to say, oh, look, it's Nash. Oh, Fernando, Sergey, Christina. Oh my gosh, it's Penny. And you want me to look at you and think, there's a good egg right there. And I do. This is all for your own selfish, economic self-interest. But check this out. And here's the magic of the invisible hand. Even though I am acting in my own economic self-interest, I am helping you. And even though you are acting in your own economic self-interest, you are helping me. So when we engage in commerce, we help each other whether we intend to or not. By me going through these live streams right now, I am helping YouTube, which means I'm helping Google, and goodness knows Google needs the help. I am helping to employ camera manufacturers. I am employing, lighting manufacturers and so forth. Whenever we engage in commerce, we are helping a whole ecosystem out there stay employed. Even though we don't think about them at all, we're helping them stay employed. And you are helping me stay employed. Okay, so here's the thing. And this one's important, so I'm going to actually read this slide, all right? The benefit we create as an unintended side effect of pursuing our economic self-interest is more effective at helping others than any deliberate help we may offer. Okay, let me give you an example. All right, let's say that you need some help, but the help you need is multifaceted, right? I mean, all right, you're kind of worried about, your rent, and you're worried about inflation with food bills and so forth, and you're trying to juggle family responsibilities, and work is kind of going through some transitions and so forth. And I say, okay, I will waive this one assignment. I'll waive an assignment. That helps, sure, but it doesn't address the whole problem. What's better is if everybody just does what they do, and I provide lots of extra credit, whatever you want to do, lots of extra credit. I provide live streams, whatever you want to do. I provide lots and lots and lots of support just by doing what I do. And you can then go to the extra credit tab and go, oh, look, I could do this, this, and this, and I can contact him through this, this, and this, and so forth. Just by the mere fact that I'm doing my job, I'm actually providing a lot of support that you can then pick and choose what works best for you. So it's kind of a tricky concept. Let me put it in one more way. You are better at taking value from me and applying it to meet your needs than if I try to give you something specific and hope that it makes all your problems go away. Okay? So that's the idea of the invisible hand here, but we're going to come back to this. Okay? So, one more thing about the invisible hand. We're creating value. I'm creating value right now. You are creating value right now. The very fact that you're online, you're creating value for Google, for myself, for yourself, and so forth. It's not up to us what other people do with the value that we provide them. Okay? So let's say, for example, that you and I right now, because we're engaging in our own economic self-interest, we're helping Google. Google owns YouTube, okay? We're helping Google. Well, Google is going through lawsuits right now with the U.S. and with the EU and with others as well. Epic Gaming, I think it is, or Elite Gaming, I think it's Epic. I forget, the creators of Fortnite. And so they are in part taking the value that we are creating and channeling it toward supporting the monopolistic behavior. So we are creating value for Google right now. They are using the value that we create in part to sustain their monopolistic behavior, which goes counter to the free market and hurts consumers. So right now, the value that we are creating, in part, is hurting the economy. All right? To put it in a much more stark, example, crime. Crime creates an entire justice industry that directly employs hundreds of thousands and then millions more indirectly. So even somebody who is engaged in crime is creating value that others can use to create industry, to innovate technology, to raise their families, to build communities. That's the weird thing about this magic that Gryffindor and Slytherin share. It does both good and bad, and it's not up to us how that value is used. Okay? All right, so with that, let's now consider how this plays out. Okay, by the way, Nash says, it makes me think of someone stealing catalytic converters and it helps the economy. It's right, Nash. That's a great example, right? I think it's, oh gosh, there's an element that's in the catalytic converter that's really, really, really rare. And there's not much of it in there, but it's so expensive that people are stealing catalytic converters so they can extract the mineral from it. I forget what it is. Somebody Google it and put it there in the chat. I don't know if it's platinum or whatever. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, so they steal the catalytic converter. So what does this do, Nash? Well, first of all, companies are out there creating locks that you can put on your catalytic converter. Companies are out there making a lot of money replacing the catalytic converters. And then, of course, the people who are stealing them is making money off the catalytic converter. Somebody else takes that mineral and uses it to create something amazing and awesome. Value doesn't care about right or wrong. Value only cares about growing and perpetuating itself. So awful deeds can create great value. Great deeds can create awful value. It doesn't matter. Yeah, pricey fix, like you said. Yeah, it's a really pricey fix, Nash. You're right. Those things are expensive. Okay. So now I want to put this in context of everyday economics. And it's also going to play into economic debates going on right now with the election here in the United States. We're about 3 weeks away from an election. I don't care about the candidates, okay? So, we don't care about Trump. We don't care about Harris. What we care about are the positions that each party traditionally tends to espouse. And so a lot of the economic theories that each candidate pushes forward is linked to the invisible hand. Let me show you what I mean. Okay. Now remember, I said this, the benefit we create as an unintended side effect of pursuing our economic self-interest is more effective at helping others than any deliberate help we may offer. Okay? So the idea is if you just do your thing, you're actually going to help society far more than if you try to solve a specific problem, because society is going to use the value you create to try to solve problems because other people own those problems. Okay, so with that in mind, let's talk about the idea of trickle-down economics. Hey, Gemini, trickle-down economics very much follows the frame of mind of the invisible hand, okay? The theory that economic policies that benefit the wealthy and large corporations will eventually benefit everyone in the economy. Okay, so let me give you an example. Right now in the United States, tax rates for large corporations and the very rich are very, very, very low. Okay, tax rates are very low. And in fact, many corporations set up systems and so on and so forth by which they just plain don't have to pay taxes. Now, the invisible hand says, oh, here we go, Christina, platinum, palladium, and rhodium. Ooh, interesting. Thank you. So the invisible hand says, this is just fine, okay? Because watch this. Let's say that I am a large corporation, all right? We'll play with this idea for a moment. I'm a large corporation, and I've got all this money. Now, there's two things, there's more than two, but bear with me. There's two things I can do with this money. I can give it to the government in the form of taxes, and the government will do God knows what with it, right? I mean, sure, they'll put some for Medicare and Social Security, but they're also going to build bombs to send to, wherever, and then they're going to bail out these companies and so on. We haven't found a government yet that solves social problems, right? At least as my mind as a large corporation. So I have this money. I can either send it to the government and just watch it burn up, or I can invest it in the company and create jobs. All right? You've heard this before in the political discourse, that companies are job creators. Well, now, if I invested in the company and create jobs, I know that I am helping society because I am employing the people who I have just hired, and then there's an ecosystem around those people of schools and grocery stores and factories and so forth that support my employees. And then, of course, there's an ecosystem around those supports, and it goes on and on and on. So by creating jobs, I help society in ways that I'll never understand, I'll never know, but they know what's best for themselves. The invisible hand says that people know what is best for themselves. Just give them the jobs and they will run their lives the way that is best for their own economic self-interest. Okay? So the trickle-down economic theory, trickle-down economics say if you allow companies, if you don't tax companies exorbitantly and don't tax the rich, they will create jobs, which will in turn raise up everybody. So as the saying goes, a rising tide raises all ships, lifts all ships. Okay? This is an economic theory that tends to be more espoused by the conservative side, although liberals as well understand the idea. Okay, so now check this out. Remember, according to the invisible hand, the value that you create unintentionally creates value for society more so than anything that you intended, okay? So check this out. According to trickle-down economics, it is better to give money to rich corporations and allow them to pursue their own economic self-interest rather than give financial assistance to the needy or the middle class. Now, the idea here is if you give it to the rich corporations, they will create jobs, and this will allow the needy and the middle class to earn more money, and you see how it goes. Whereas if you tax the rich and put it in social programs for the middle class and the needy, well, now you've stifled innovation and job growth, is the idea. So it's better to just leave the companies alone, let them create the value, create the jobs that creates value for everyone else. And as the church lady would say, well, isn't that convenient? I'm dating myself. I know that's Dana Carvey from SNL 30 years ago. Who knows? I don't know how long ago, but he was a character on SNL. This is where Slytherin has the opportunity to raise its head. It's very easy for a company to say, we shouldn't have to pay these taxes. We shouldn't have to support these welfare programs. We shouldn't have to do this. We shouldn't have to do that because we're taking all that money and creating jobs. And that's more important than anything else. So, yeah. And Gemini, this is what capitalism feels like. So, again, I'm just giving you both sides to the theory of the invisible hand. All right? I'm not saying one or the other because I'm sure benefiting from it and you benefit from it, but sometimes it can be used in a disingenuous way, I feel. That's my hot take. All right? So then, by the way, we still have to pay for these government programs. Well, who's paying for them if the rich corporations aren't? The middle class. The middle class carries the burden, carries the tax burden. So it's your taxes that you pay to the government that support everything. And in fact, the government now and again has to bail out these large corporations. It's happened only 1 trillion times, and it'll happen again. Keep your eyes open for Boeing. My spidey senses tell me we'll be bailing Boeing out here pretty soon because too large to fail. You've heard the term too large to fail. The idea of too large to fail is if the company fails, then all those jobs will be lost, and then all the indirect jobs will be lost, and it'll tank the entire economy. Again, the invisible hand, okay? So it's your tax dollars going to support the corporation, support the government, so that they can supposedly create jobs, but they're also hiring robots as well, okay? So you're helping to support the economy by sending your taxes to corporations via the government. Very cool. Thank you. So, in closing, okay? Yeah, I did it. Half an hour. Excellent. In closing, we pursue our own economic self-interest, and in so doing, we help others, whether it's our intention or not. But how it helps others, we don't have any control of that. So right now, you and I are in some vague, abstract, disconnected way helping to support monopolistic behavior and harm the consumer by denying them free market benefits. You're welcome. All right. Hey, as always, I would like to thank, and this is not invisible hand, I'm actually being very deliberate, thank my supporters. We've got Cameron, Trish, and Chelsea, and then Moving Death, and Leilani. I'm always afraid that I'm mispronouncing that. I'll have to make sure. But, you know, I really appreciate all the support that you and others give me as I offer up these live streams. All right? I always shoot for about half an hour, and lo and behold, we did it. So thank you very much for joining. Thank you, Gemini. As always, I'm going to hang out for a few minutes. If you have any questions or comments, I'm here for you. Otherwise, have a fan-freaking-tastic day and an even better weekend. We get to go into a weekend here pretty soon, right? So have a great one. Leslie, thank you. Panna, we'll see you later. We'll see you, Fernando. Thank you, Christina. Thanks for Googling that stuff for me. And good luck with your client. Hey, Jacob, I didn't realize you were still around. Great to have you aboard. Hey, Daniela, we'll see you later. Yeah, Jacob, you got to hear about all the stuff we're dealing with here in the United States, right? Well, I'm sure you've got yours in Denmark, too. Sergey, thank you. Yeah, same stuff everywhere, right? Different language, same stuff. It's really true. All right, folks. Well, I see people dropping off and the comments have slowed up. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap things up. And As always, have a fantastic weekend, and we'll see you next time around. Bye-bye.